for example, is a VC chain, which means venture capitalist, right? So you have all these rich people putting in money. A lot of people in crypto don't like that, but because this cycle, there's not that much retail, not that much average everyday buyers in the market, you have the rich people control this market this cycle.
And there's a reason for that, because the Federal Reserve, when they started increasing interest rates in January of 2022, one of the things that Jerome was really worried about was the American savings rate. Anytime like when the 2008 crash happened, Americans were like, oh shit, they tighten their belts up and their savings rate goes up to like 20, 30, 40%. They start saving money again. And then the people at the Fed are like, what the fuck? You guys are supposed to be spending all your fucking money, your consumers. And so one of their main thing was as they increased the interest rates, they were watching, because basically what happened is Americans got to at 30% after COVID. Savings rate. Normally it's 2% or less, which is terrible. That's why, like, when you go like, the average American has less than $500 in their savings account.
We're printing money out the woozah.
Yeah, so people had savings from like taking the PPP loans or just investing, or everyone just basically just ordering shit from their house because they're stuck at home. A ton of money was made during COVID, right? Especially if you had a business and you were smart. This is why
interest rates for homes were literally 2 to 3%.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like it was nuts, dude. It was a crazy time. I don't think we'll ever see interest rates that low again on homes.
Historically, that was insanity. Like we were at 0% from like basically 2011 to 2021. 0. That's insane. So we had over a decade of no interest rates, basically. Sure, we had like 0.0, like a quarter of a percent, and then the bank adds 3% or 2% depending on your credit score. But basically, there was no extra vig on it. That's why like us being at the current interest rate, that's why like you try to get a house loan, it's 7%.
Yeah, it's kind of high now.
It's
really
high.
I closed on a deal a few weeks ago. I think it closed around 8 or 9.
Yeah, but you buy points off of it, right?
I do buy points off it if it makes sense. But yeah, I mean, then it gets to a point of no return. But yeah, I mean, I remember I was buying houses in like 2021 at like 2 or 3% interest rate, man, 4%.
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, but. It just sucks because now it's so high now that like it's kind of made the real estate market stagnate, especially here in Miami.
Well, and then everybody's saying by the time you get the boomers, basically croaking, right?
Yeah,
they're all going to be either selling or forced selling from their inheritances, as well, which could bring real estate, into like kind of a funk into the end of the 2030s, because most of the boomer money is going to be basically turned over to the millennials from 2029 to 2035. Yeah. So that period there is going to be a shift where there might be more supply than demand.
Well, also with inflation, they can't afford to upkeep the property.
Right.
Their money has kind of slowed down or stopped. And to maintain that household, you got to maintain the property, the grass, everything. Yeah. They can't afford it, so they're going to sell.
Yep. I mean, and there's a global problem too. I mean, like, I'm not going to shit on the boomers all day because you obviously could, but but basically after World War II, everyone had a bunch of babies. That's the boomers, right?
Yeah.
And now they're all in retirement age. They're all 62 and a half years old. They're all whether they're getting their pension from whatever Europe over here to America, the entire Western world basically has a ton of boomers. So does China, but the problem is that most of these boomers outside of America didn't have enough kids. So there's basically like in America the boomers made enough millennials to be a replacement generation. I think like millennials are like 105% of the boomer generation. So we're like 5% bigger millennials, right? But in Japan or in China or in most of Europe, they're only 40 to 50% of the population. So let's just say there's 100 million boomers in Europe. They got 50 million millennials. How are the 50 million millennials and the 30 million Zoomers going to pay for 100 million boomers? That's that's why there's all this weird global shit with the banks and the money, is that they're printing money in order to kind of upkeep and keep the stock markets across the planet from collapsing and the bond markets from collapsing, because these boomers are going to start, instead of putting money in, now they're starting to take out, they're not cashing out all their stocks, but they're taking out 2, 3, 4, 5%. Hopefully you don't listen to Dave Ramsey and take out 7% a year, go broke. But, a lot of people are starting to withdraw money from the stock market now, and they're starting to have vacations or selling a house off to go buy a smaller, or downsize to a smaller house because they need to retire. This is why, like, during 2001, right? I mean, 2021, there was tons of people moving to Florida because tax incentive's good, the heat's good on your knees, and who doesn't want to live by the beach, right? And it's a good retirement. Like, Florida's incredible for retirement, right? But this is the one. The America's got enough millennials and enough people being born right now that it kind of like offsets it. We have enough to kind of replace it, but it's tough. But there's places like Japan and China and most of Europe that are doing really bad right now because there's just not enough fucking millennials. There's not enough 25-year-olds to 30-year-olds. There's not enough 15-year-olds. There's not enough 2-year-olds. That's the tax basis. So that's the reason, like, all this money printing and the Ponzi system is working, and that's why people are trying to get into Bitcoin or gold or silver or just other assets that they can't print, because they're going to have to devalue the dollars and devalue the euro and devalue the pound and devalue everything, because it has to be done to basically keep the system from collapsing, because there's just not enough people.
Also, they want to bring about like an online payment processor. For
Correct.
everything anyway.
To control the money. Yeah, that's a cool thing about Trump. Trump is not giving us a central bank digital currency, but the rest of the world are jumping into it, because basically the dollar is so strong right now. I mean, and I'm saying strong is like
compared to other currencies.
It's the cleanest, dirtiest shirt.
What I kind of want to ask Myron right now, I'm just curious of your opinion. If you were to guess the 3 regions or countries that would be first to have a central bank digital currency.
Oh, here we go.
Think of totalitarian, authoritarianism, that type of shit, right?
When's your favorite? When's your favorite?
Yeah.
Which ones might they be, you think? Like, just take a few guesses. I'm
Israel will
curious.
100% be on that list, probably.
They're
Digital
number
shekel.
1.
Yeah, they're number 1.
They're coming out within the next 6 months.
Yeah.
And they're going to build on Ethereum.
That makes sense. When it comes to
It's
technology,
it's not
Israel's always-
speculative at all. It's actually legit.
100%
Yeah.
confirmed.
I believe it. Didn't someone's out there hiding right now from American authorities that's an Israeli.
Okay.
What's the coin that they rug pulled on everybody?
Which one?
Celsius?
There's a coin. I think it's Celsius. It was
Mashinsky?
Oh,
it was
yeah,
Shisky.
yeah,
It was there's a guy
he got put
right
in prison
now
for it,
that
yeah.
rug pulled and fled to Israel.
Yeah.
That was a crypto guy.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, but so they're
Maybe
one.
Celsius.
Okay, so you got 1 for 1. Awesome.
You know what's funny?
Perfect.
They go either Dubai or Israel once a rug pull.
There's a second
there's
one.
a second
There's
one.
a second one.
It's authoritarian.
Yeah.
Not Dubai, Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Saudi
So
Arabia? Okay.
when you think about Saudi Arabia, right? I mean, like,
makes
I love
sense.
those guys out there in Dubai. They're great people, but
They're authoritarian for real.
Exactly.
You can't even criticize their government at all, bro.
top
They'll kill
fucking
you.
down, right?
They will kill you, bro.
Exactly.
And if you guys don't believe me, Google Khashoggi and see what I'm talking about.
And then
bro.
what?
Remembered
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
In a
him.
foreign
In a suitcase.
country.
It's a suitcase.
Bruh,
So-
they cut him up in a Turkey. Well, it was the Saudi Arabian embassy, but it was in Turkey.
Right.
Sorry.
So Myron and Fresh are 2 for 2 now. That wasn't that hard, was it?
Yeah.
Right? So the third one, what Western civilization or country or group or place would be the next on the list?
The UK?
You're close.
Oh, damn.
You're warm.
Brexit
You're warm.
happened.
They were smart to get out.
Portugal is pro crypto, so I don't think Portugal.
The entire European Union.
Okay.
EU.
So Christine Lagarde has said she wants the entire European Union to be on a central bank digital currency by October of this year.
Oh, fuck that.
And whether that actually
cooked.
happens or not is a different thing. They're absolutely fucking cooked.
Bro, Europe is cooked, bro.
And over the next 5 to 8 years, they want to get rid of all physical euros over time. So they want it all to be digital through the phone.
Of course.
So that way, it's basically they can fully control the tax base.
Because you know what happens when they do that? If you don't do what they say,
Yeah.
cut your money off.
As much as I hate
Exactly.
cash,
Yeah.
like I truly, you guys know me, I hate cash. It is a necessary evil
Absolutely.
to prevent tyranny and you not being able to access your money, because you end up on a credit score system.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
we don't like what you said. Money frozen. You can't fucking.
Well, and most people are too poor to, like fight against it. So,
Yeah.
hey, do you want UBI? Do you want universal basic income? Do you want some free money? Or do you want to have to go to work for this shit? People are going to take the free shit.
For sure.
And Europe's going to be the testing ground.
That's scary, bro.
It's kind of fucked up.
That's scary.
And here's the thing: the German government sold $500,000, $500 million, $500 million of Bitcoin at $55,000 last summer. What price is it now? It's double.
Yeah.
They could have had $1 billion just sitting in Bitcoin, but instead there's actually, I forget the name of the company, but it's a German pharmaceutical company recently said, we're going to back our entire company with Bitcoin because it's going to outpace the EU. It's going to outpace inflation. It's going to outpace all this shit. And so the smart companies, the smart organizations, the smart banks, everybody right now, because here's a fucking crazy stat from Michael Saylor during the Bitcoin conference.
Yep.
He said,
I remember this.
yeah, he said, right now, what do you call it? Within 5 years of any company being built, right, 90% of them fail.
Yep.
And then of the 10% that do succeed within those 5 years, right, 99.9% of these companies have tried to year on year gain 10 to 30% of revenue on revenue, right? So if you can make 10 to 30% gains on your company year on year, you're fucking amazing. How many companies out of 400 million companies were able to do that? 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
7.
So,
Cook, bro.
But Bitcoin, if you just buy Bitcoin,
Are we talking like traditional brick and mortar businesses? Or are we talking
Everything.
Online, brick and mortar, everything.
OnlyFans is giving one of those 7.
7 out of 400 million?
7 out of 400 million. And so
Times are hard.
you're not going to fucking do it.
on and on, yeah.
You're not going to fucking do it. So what's a better strategy? Because Bitcoin makes 30% year on year over 5+ years. Back your company up with Bitcoin. So we have right now Arizona, we have New Hampshire that said up to 5% of their state reserves can be bought up in Bitcoin or any other digital asset that has over 500 million in market cap, which is only Bitcoin right now. But if Ethereum gets over $5,000, then these states can buy Ethereum too.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then they can stake and get yield
That's
on
the trigger
Ethereum.
number.
And that's a trigger.
So if we see $5,000 Ethereum, we're pretty much off the races.
And that's where
Yes.
Ethereum should be right now. Because if you look at what Bitcoin did, Bitcoin crashed this last cycle to 15,500.
Yep.
In 2022, and it pumped all the way up to 11111, right? So it's essentially it did about a 6.7x from the bottom. If Ethereum did the same thing, it would be about $5,200 right now. But there is some good news. I mean, Ethereum.
So if we can pass that 5K mark with Ethereum, do you guys see it going back down? Pretty much it's going to hold from there, right?
No.
No?
So
no, as in it won't go back down, or
it will go back down.
It will go back down.
Okay, it won't stabilize.
It'll pump. Once it hit 5,000, it'll be able to pump higher because Bitcoin will also pump higher.
Right.
But it will come down just like Bitcoin. Bitcoin and Ethereum will do 70% retracements.
Correct. So from whatever top they hit, they'll go down 70%, right?
All right.
And so Ethereum might go up to 7,300, might go up to 11,000, might go up to 15,000. Those are the 3 targets for Ethereum. Whichever one it hits, let's say it hits 10,000 or 11,000, right? It goes down 70%, it's going to hit 3,000. Right now it's $2,600. You buy it today, you probably can't buy Ethereum for that price ever again. Versus if you buy Bitcoin today, right? Bitcoin might go down to like $60,000, $70,000 at the bottom of the bear market at the end of 2026. You can buy Bitcoin at this price or lower in about a year or so, right? The next 6 to 9 months, you're going to make a lot of money with it going up, but you're going to be able to buy it cheaper. Whereas Ethereum is so cheap right now, you might not. And so right now in crypto, it's not about like, I just buy anything and it all goes up. At this point, it kind of is getting close to that, but it's more about what is like you have to kind of critically think in crypto. It's like what is actually quality, what is speculation, what can go up, and like you have to really critically think about what you're actually fucking buying, because if you're buying Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's a big difference in terms of your asset value and what you're actually trying to do long term versus if you buy a meme coin. It's clear what you're trying to do.
It's hot potato. Yeah.
You're trying to make money over a short period of time. But Fart Coin, unfortunately, is one of the best coins in crypto right now. It has one of the best returns.
Fart coin to the moon, bro.
I mean, fart jokes don't fucking die. That's one thing, right? Good. I love that. But it's fucking hilarious, right? Like right now in crypto, you can go total degen. You can go total risk, like I don't know what you want to call it, but like basically very smart with your money long term. And there's so much in between right now. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing in crypto, you're gonna get rinsed.
Yeah. You know what was actually shocking to me? At a convention, I saw Grant Cardone there.
Yeah.
And he spoke about his portfolio. And for the first time ever, I heard him say, "I'd rather have Bitcoin than real estate." I was like, "What? Dude, that's insane." Now, mind you,
he's always thought that he's real reluctant to say it publicly.
But he said it publicly this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
more
he has a
been
Bitcoin real estate
bro.
fund as well.
Huh?
He has a Bitcoin real estate fund.
He takes money in as Bitcoin now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fun.
Very
smart
smart.
as fuck, bro. So just seeing how the culture is shifting towards Bitcoin, I would say get in now while you still can.
Yeah. And Grant Cardone, I may get the years wrong, but Grant, he always says like, always say yes to the money and figure it out later. You never know, right? Say yes to every opportunity. He had some speaking engagement roughly in 2014 and 15. They couldn't pay him in cash. They said, "Would you accept Bitcoin?" He said, "Fuck it. It's gonna be $30,000." They paid him like $30,000 in Bitcoin. He kept it. He still has it. Do you know how fortune?
Dude, I
He
did
made
the
a
math,
fortune
bro.
on
That's
millions.
a lot of money, bro.
Millions of dollars.
Damn.
Because like when I got into crypto, right, Bitcoin was $400. $400. Ethereum was $8.
Less than 8 years ago.
8 years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
So real quick, just so I let people know, guys, I know some of you guys are saying like, "Yo, is this a course or whatever?" So really, they say it's a course, but it's really a mentorship, guys. So the way it works.